What's going on, Falcons fans? Hey, man, it's Pound ATL coming at you. Hey, we got a special one tonight by request, and we're going to jump into this thing, man. I got J.R. Clark over there, my boy, and Dansky, the pass rush specialist, has joined us tonight, man, so we can talk about some of these draft picks that might be good scheme fits in the later rounds. And I do have to say this, guy. I know we don't say it often. If y'all have not subscribed to the channel, please do so. Make sure y'all hit the notification button so y'all can get all the alerts and videos that we put out. Comment, like, share, and all those beautiful things. J.R. Clark, what's going on, man?
Oh man, just as we like to say around work, just living the dream. I'm not exactly sure all the time what kind of dream it is, but that is the what we are doing. We are in definitely in the thick of draft season. We're about, as of this recording, we're literally 2 weeks out from the draft. So we got a live stream next week, and then we'll be into the draft. And there's a part of me that says I can't get here soon enough, because I'm tired of speculating, and we're seeing all these different reports, and it's getting into smokescreen season, silly season in a sense. But then there's part of me is once that's done, then it's the anticipation's over, right? So, but yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm ready to get into it. Adam, what you got, brother?
Well, then it's hype season, right? Preseason hype season. We get these hype videos from workouts and stuff. So that's I always post that, and then we get into helmet and visor season.
Oh
right?
Yes, oh yeah, right. Yeah, we can predetermine who's going into the Hall of Fame by number, helmet, and visor. That's
exactly. We gotta check out these helmet games. That I actually like. We joke about it, but I actually enjoy that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, just staying busy, on my sevens tour right now.
Right.
Getting ready for North Carolina. We got a bunch of practices coming up, and I'm losing my voice. So this is.
Well, I mean, yelling at them kids like that, you gotta.
Not in just talking too much, apparently. So.
Dude, you after the day after the first round. I'll sound pretty much like that. You're going to see a lot. Day 2, you're going to see a lot of me chugging and drinking because my throat will just be raw. I know y'all probably won't believe me when I say it, but during my normal work week, I actually don't do a lot of talking. When I come on and do these videos, that's the most talking I do throughout the week, really.
So then you have verbal diarrhea.
Exactly right. Then y'all tell me to shut up, because I'm just But as Toby alluded to, our one and only patron, Charleston Nash, posed the question to us about who we thought were scheme fits, and that's kind of the focus on this video, not necessarily the first round guys who somebody posted a graph or a chart of where these players would fit, and they had Derek Stingley at the top, and it said anywhere, as far as where he would fit in, which was, to me, that's what a first rounder is, right?
Yeah.
Like you get a first rounder, and you should be able to just plug them in. They should fit, right? So that can be said for the top part of the draft, day 1, obviously, then, some in day 2 as well. So I thought about putting a little bit of a spin on it and think about later rounds who really need to be scheme fits. They may not have all the talent in the world, that they're working with or relying on, but do bring something scheme specific, something that a coach would be looking for. And so I figured it'd be good if we dive in there and try to identify one on each side of the ball, an offensive guy and a defensive guy who fit what the philosophy and what the brand of what we believe the Falcons are going to be this coming year and in the future beyond. So Adam, as our draft contributor, I'm going to start with you for sure. And you're more of a defensive guy, so I'll let you choose. If you want to start defense, that's fine. But however you started, we'll do a round table kind of deal. So Who do you have in the later rounds that you think would just like fit the Falcons?
So this guy was actually brought to me by Eddie McGilvra,
Okay.
the pass rush guru. I didn't know too much about him. I was studying some other guys, and he said he wanted my thoughts on Isaiah Thomas from Oklahoma. Um, so if anybody follows or been in my spaces, they know that I've always talked about when you play drop eight. That's kind of what the Bengals did in the Super Bowl in their playoff run. So drop eight is you rush three and you just drop eight random guys. Could be D tackle, could be DN, could be linebacker, it could be just whoever. Eight guys. You're gonna need somebody from a 3-man perspective that can rush the passer. Isaiah Thomas. He fits that mold. He's a 6'4", 270 pound defensive lineman. One thing I'm going to say about this class is there's so many guys like this. So I think we're fortunate to kind of be in this situation where we can get. So it's called a 5-tech. It's inside the offensive tackle shoulder, just in that gap between the offensive tackle and the offensive guard. So I think we're gonna it's funny. I was screaming last year that I thought we had too many of them. But seeing Marlon Davidson really not pan out so far, I really don't think I think he's a mismatch in this scheme. I thought he could play 5, but he can't. So therefore, I just don't like that fit. And Taquan Graham actually stepped up and played really nice. But Isaiah Thomas is a pure pass rusher. He's a long dude. At the Senior Bowl, he played a little bit of edge. I think his future in the NFL is going to be at 5-tech 4-eye kind of spot, where he's just head up and he can use his speed and his long arms, and he's got heavy hands. That's one thing Eddie kept telling me, is that when he hits the pad, like you can feel him shocked. And the only other time he said that to me is when Taquan Graham was training with him, and he hit him as well. So to get 2 heavy-handed pass rushers like that, and then be able to play in those 3-man fronts, I really feel like Isaiah Thomas would be a nice little, I feel like he's a 4th, 5th round kind of guy.
Right.
If somebody loves him, they could take him at the back end of the 3rd. But he's a guy that I feel like he's got a lot of potential. I feel like it's funny because I felt like he had a good Senior Bowl. When I was watching one-on-ones, he really gave Trevor Penning the work, and Trevor Penning, he won the offensive lineman of the week, and Isaiah Thomas really took him to the woodshed every rep that he had. And it wasn't even just in one-on-ones, because obviously one-on-ones are designed for defensive linemen. But in 11 on 11, he was just a terror outside. So, I mean, if you can be that consistent and threat that outside shoulder of the offensive tackle that much, I mean, when you go to 4-man fronts, that's just the big assets for us as well. So I really feel like signing him into that 5-tech spot would be a really good fit for us.
Cool. No, yeah, Isaiah Thomas is a name that I've heard like bandied about. And seeing him with like Perion Winfrey and Nico Benito, that was a formidable line that they had out there at Oklahoma. He would definitely be a guy that I would be interested in. I went 5-tech as well, but we'll get to me here in just a second. Toby, who'd you pull, or do you have any thoughts on Isaiah Thomas before we move on?
I haven't had a chance to watch a lot of his, so I don't know too much about him, because I kind of got locked in and looking at Perion Winfrey and Benito, so I didn't really get a chance to really lock in on him as far as my board. But I definitely will have to go and check him out this weekend and see what he brings to the table. But I do love the size, though.
Yeah,
because
he's actually 6'5", 270, not 6'4".
Yeah, and that's beautiful, because we look like we really getting. I know some people was like, well, what does that really mean? Because we get bigger, but we are getting bigger up front, and you can see it all across the line. Which a lot of fans was clamoring about, because they were like, we're too small up front, we're getting pushed all around the place, which doesn't mean too much, even when you're big, if you don't have the right leverage on your guy that you're taking on in front of you. But I like the size, though, so I'm definitely gonna have to check that out, because we might draft.
And that's one thing. It's one thing to be big. A lot of guys are big in the NFL, but if be big and strong, and I really feel like Isaiah Thomas is that kind of like Taquan. Like a lot of people don't realize how well Taquan Graham tested last year. I'm pretty sure Isaiah Thomas tested along that same lines. One thing I think we can all agree on that Terry and company like is long pass rushers. So Isaiah really fits that bill, and I really like him as a prospect. I actually forgot when JR shot me this idea about doing this thing. I was like starting to look. I was like, how can I keep glossing over Isaiah Thomas? I don't even honestly think I have him in a mock draft, which is crazy because he's a really good scheme fit, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no doubt. Toby, who'd you peg on the defensive side of the ball?
I'm going over to Baylor. I'm going JT Woods. Okay. I got a 4th grade on him as a safety. He kind of got lost in the shuffle because this is not the strongest safety class, but he was someone that wasn't even on my radar until we went to the Senior Bowl, and I saw how well he played. Nice cover 2 safety. We play a lot of that with Dean Pease on the back end. Guy that can run sideline to sideline, does very well tackling, and can make plays on the football, and that's something that you want in the Dean Pease defense. And he talked about that, where you have to have guys that can attack the football. And we didn't have enough of those guys last year to be able to do that. And it's why you go get guys like Casey Hayward, and you already got Jalen Hawkins on the team. They attack the football. That's what they do. So a guy like JT Woods, man, both of those Oklahoma State games from 2020 and 2021, man, when you pop that tape on, he is all over the place, causing a lot of problems for that offense over there. So I definitely love watching him. And that's a guy I think will fit well, especially with the type of defense that we run, a lot of that creeper style defense, cover 2. And anybody basically on Baylor defense, what you can plug in and play, I believe, in the Dean Pease defense.
Now, so I guess he probably got overshadowed a little bit by Jalen Petrie on the.
Yeah, he did. Because Jalen Petrie, of course, y'all know he's all over the place as well, and he's a menace. It's somebody I would love for the Falcons to draft, but I don't know if he's going to be there because I got a 2nd round grade on Jalen Petrie. I doubt he's going to be there when the Falcons pick at 43. Right. But yeah, he definitely got overshadowed by Jalen Petrie.
See, that's the good thing about doing these type of thought experiments as we get closer to the draft. It's digging up names that we might not be familiar with, or names that you may have seen but haven't really dug in on. I've seen JT Woods pop up in the mocks, in the 6th, 7th round area, but I didn't know too terribly much about him, so I would gloss over him. But he sounds like a guy that does fit that mold of interchangeable safeties that Pease likes to run. Adam, you got anything or know anything about it? Does that name ring a bell to you?
Honestly, no, man. That was a good one from Toby there. I'll have to check him out. But yeah, just looking at his profile, how he tested, he tested really, really well. So tall guy, lean. He looks like he's got a lanky frame. He's got a lanky frame. So yeah, he looks like somebody. Yeah, like Toby was saying, Petrie's a rock star, and he'd be another guy that'd be a good fit. Hopefully we're talking the 2nd round. We're talking about how good Kyle Hamilton's going to fit in our defense, so we won't have to worry about
right. Yeah, exactly. That would be that would be the dream right there, right?
But I'll definitely. I kind of been lacking with the training camp and coaching and stuff. So I'll definitely check him out. It'd be a guy I like the way he looks, and his testing's great. If anything, Terry Fontenot is going to have his handprints all on the safety, whoever we draft.
Oh yeah.
I'm assuming we're going to add a guy there just because the one thing that's kind of worrying me right now, we don't really have another post safety. I think Richie Grant looks like he's kind of almost going to have that job, but I would be hesitant to not give him
some form of
somebody to compete with. So if JT Woods could do it, I'd be really interested to see that, because I know Jalen Petrie wasn't that guy, because I know he was a lot in the box. He played a lot in the box and a lot in nickel. So if it was JT Woods back there, Baylor has a really good D. So I'll have to check him out and see what his game's about.
Good deal. Good deal. Well, that leaves me on the defensive side of the ball, and I'm going to try not to butcher this man's name, or at least his last name. But it's the Wisconsin defensive tackle, Matt Henningsen, because I keep wanting to say like Hennessy, which is obviously not Hennessy. So it's Henningsen. He's 6'3", 289, big fella. Another like 5 tech. His name kept popping up when around like the Shrine Bowl time, talking about like his power that he displayed, and he was one of those dudes that I kind of put a mental check in my head to eventually go and watch. And when this popped up, I was like, yes, that dude, I need to go watch him and see if that is a name that would fit where we're at. And after watching him, I've watched probably about 3 or 4 games. And what jumped out at me right out of the way was like his impact on the run game. And because to me, when you're talking about those like 4th, 5th, 6th round guys, I want them to be able to do at least one thing really well. And then I'll try to develop into other things. But like his ability to play that 5 tech role, which was something that Wisconsin rolled out quite a bit, that 4-man front, that reminded me a lot of what we were running last year. So I don't think he'd have to learn too much of a new role. And as you stated earlier, which would maybe kind of chuckle, one of the reasons why I was even thinking 5 tech is because of Davidson's lack of development there. And so I was like, yeah, we're going to need somebody to, spell Graham, or like mix in and out. Heaven forbid we move on from Grady. You're going to need more bodies on that defensive line. So like initially I thought like Matt would be a guy who could come in on, especially like when we're playing like heavy run teams, because you saw the Falcons do that last year, really tailor their defensive line to what team we were playing. Because you'd have games where Kaminsky was out, or games where Graham sat. It was just like it almost depended on what our opponent was. So I thought to myself, this guy could early on at least be part of that rotation. And not to say the only thing he can do is stop the run, because that's not the case. He also, has a decent like inside swim move that, got him into the backfield quite a bit. And I think if it was something that you could work on and develop, you might actually get some, halfway decent pass rush out of him. Maybe not year one, but definitely by the time his rookie contract was up. So that was my thoughts on him.
Yeah, I haven't studied him.
No, it's that's what I expected out of this, in a sense, is that we're bringing names that the vast majority of us like haven't looked at. Like that was, kind of the point. But
yeah, it's so funny. I like when somebody mentions a prospect and I don't know anything about him. Now I'm like okay, now I got to go study this guy, right? Now I'm gonna.
Yeah, I got to look at these last 2 guys. Y'all just mentioned.
That's exactly it. And like people are gonna be like, wow, these guys are really unprepared. But like that's really round 4 through 7, right? Like that's just really how it goes. Like you're gonna hear a guy in the 5th round, and you're like, who is that guy, right? But I was just thinking when you were saying about his name, when you started with his name being butchered, I was thinking about the fact that I'm putting myself up to this challenge.
I want to hear it.
So actually this guy caught my eye. I'm just saying his name. So he's from Notre Dame. He's listed at edge. I think he'll end up being a 5 tech as well. But Myron Tagovailoa Mosa.
Oh, nice. Okay, good job.
Okay, yeah. So I think I got it. But that one I can't. The problem is I can't spell it on Twitter. So when I try to make a thread or something about him, I'm like,
it's Marlon T with a period.
Yeah, I call MTA is what I call him. But like like he's one of those guys, like, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, who the heck is MTA? Like, nobody knows that guy. But yeah, no, I'll have to check this guy out for sure. Obviously, interior D-line, anything D-line is my cup of tea. So if you say to watch him, I'll definitely go and check him
I
out.
think, like I said, I think early on, like I pulled up just to make sure I had his measurements right. I pulled up Pro Football Network's, our buddy Ian. I don't think this is Ian's report, but I'm trying. No, actually, it is. It is Ian's report on him, because he's one of the guys that mentioned and that brought my attention. Anytime Ian Cummings, if y'all don't follow him on Twitter, that man is a wealth of untapped talent that you have never heard of. He's a guy.
Almost too much.
Yeah, it's a little concerning at times, that he knows just the amount of players. But anyway, he's talking about, like, violent hands, and that was something that I definitely noticed. He's got good hand usage, and I definitely saw the consistent use and win of that, like, inside swim move. Almost taking that, like, I think we classified as a Euro step. Where you start outside and break back in.
It's like a jab.
Yeah, like a jab step.
Yeah.
And so, like, he's shown some moves to get into the backfield, which I like to see, from my D lineman for sure. Well, cool, man. Well, that wraps up the defensive side. Now we're going to get to the side of the ball that I enjoy the most, the one that makes the most sense to me, is the offensive side. Adam, you want to start us off there?
Yeah, let's get me out of the way, because I don't know too many of these guys.
Oh, come on, more than you want.
It's actually funny that you mentioned Ian on this, because I'm gonna go directly to his guy, Eric Azukanma.
Yes,
from,
that dude
Texas
is
Tech.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody, Ian's almost sung the praises everywhere about this guy, and I've had the pleasure of looking at his film. And yeah, from a schematic standpoint, he absolutely fits what we're trying to do here. When we're doing these in-breaking routes, these crossers, deep ins, stuff like that, and you're looking for your receiver to run after the catch. Eric can really do that at a high rate. He's a big body dude, 6'2", 209, nice compact frame. Could take a hit and just keep on chugging. Nice strong hands, and then he has the added element in the red zone of a really good jump ball on 50-50 ball. So I know we really didn't see that last year. Was the 50-50 balls, but that's something that Arthur Smith wants his receivers to do. Yep. He wants them to win their one-on-one matchups. Thus the signing of Auden Tate, a guy who's really, really good at those things. And you could argue, maybe Eric is like the best case scenario would be a healthy Auden Tate. But I mean, you have two of those guys that can play X receiver. Those kind of guys tend to get a little bit hurt just because of the way the physicality that they play with. So Eric's he's actually not really highly rated by a lot of people, and I think he'll end up being like a 5th or 6th round pick. Yeah. So I mean, anytime you can get a big body receiver that can go up and get the ball at its highest point, I really feel like he could be a really good asset to the team. And he's a guy that if you watch a little bit more of, and you keep watching, I really feel like most people will like him. Like just the stylistic of play. I know a lot of people don't like jump ball receivers, but I really feel like there's a little bit more to his game that's kind of not been tapped into yet. Just you can see it when the ball's in his hand. He doesn't want to go down. He just keeps chugging. So Eric's a guy that I like, and obviously maybe it's just word of mouth for me and just keep shoving him down my throat. But
hey,
he's a guy that I like. And I figure we might as well dive into these receivers since our receiver room is just a disaster right now.
The term that I heard Ian use quite a bit, he even said it when I interviewed him on the show here about Eric Nukwa, I think, or something. I can't pronounce his last name.
Zukama.
Yeah, anyway. He called him a violent route runner. And that was something that stuck, because I was like, if that sounds like if there's ever a term that I could hear coming out of Arthur Smith's mouth, it would be violent route runner. So that sounds like he would definitely fit the bill of what we were looking for.
I really wanted to go Alec Pierce here, but I think Alec Pierce is going to go a little bit higher.
I think so too.
I feel like he's going to end up being like a top 90 guy.
Mm-hmm.
But he'd be a guy that I'd be interested in no matter what.
Sure. Yeah, for
because,
sure.
Because I really feel like me and Hunter were talking about being that big power slot. It's called now. Guys like the Chris Godwins, Cooper Kupps of the world, guys that can block from the slot, but also can, create from there as well. I really feel like Alec Pierce can be a dominant player like that.
Almost like a Mohamed Sanu.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's so funny. You talk about players that have played on the Falcons in recent or before that kind of would fit in this area, right? And Mohamed Sanu definitely is that kind of guy. You could even argue Michael Jenkins would be that guy.
Yep.
That's a throwback, right?
That is definitely a throwback. Toby, what you got, brother?
I'm going Romeo Doubs out of Nevada. Okay. I think he's one of the best pure vertical threats in this wide receiver class, in my opinion, man. Watching this guy, he can definitely stretch the field. He can run your short routes. He's got moves, what you want to see, because you have to have ways to get out the line of scrimmage. You have to have the ways to beat cornerbacks when you're going on one-on-one. So I definitely love this guy. Now, I think he kind of hurt himself a little bit because he did not run in the combine and he didn't do anything in the pro day. And that's why I see him probably more as a fourth-round choice on day 3 instead of a day 2, which he probably could have been had he done some of those things. And he didn't have the best showcasing in the Senior Bowl either. Carson Strong, that's his guy.
Yeah, that should have been easy connection.
Threw a ball. Yeah, exactly. Carson Strong underthrew a ball that Taylor was able to. I forgot his name.
Something Taylor? The cornerback?
No, Taylor out of Tennessee. What's the first name? Alonzo. Yeah. He ended up catching that interception on an underthrown ball by Carson Strong that was meant to go to Romeo Doubs. And I think if they could have connected on that, you might be talking about Carson Strong a little bit more, but it didn't happen. But we got to have some more speed on this team to be able to keep defenses honest. And I think adding him in there with somebody like Demir Bird that you already have in the Alameda Kids, you can definitely have a lot more speed down the field. For Mariota to be able to deal with and make defenses honest where they won't be trying to play us so tight up close on those shorter routes. But he's got it, definitely can run all the routes. May not be as strong and violent as some of the other receivers in this draft, but I think he would be a great fourth-round choice to take a flyer on.
Okay. Romeo Doubs is a guy, like you said, who had he done a little better at the Senior Bowl, I think he could have definitely had his name up in that third round. You could have been talking, like, you might have been talking more about Dobbs than Pierce in a sense, as far as like, the hype coming out of the Senior Bowl. Now, me personally, I like Pierce a little bit more, but Dobbs in a lot of aspects, showed well, but the times that he had a chance to shine, he didn't necessarily shine. So all right, so go ahead.
That was my first showing of Dobbs was the Senior Bowl. And when I was watching one-on-ones, let's get this straight. I was watching corners. I wasn't watching the receivers. But I thought he allowed pressed corners into his chest a little bit too much. But to be fair, Alec Pierce actually had that exact same problem, which kind of turned me away from Alec Pierce at the time. But those things are just teaching releases at that point. I mean, those things are a little bit easier to teach rather than speed or how to run an out properly or how to do a jump ball or how to create separation on a deep throw. Like it's a little easier to teach nuances of footwork at the line of scrimmage than it is the ball's in the air, go kind of be an alpha and do that. So I mean, if Dobbs can clean that up, I really feel like he's got a little bit of potential there.
Yeah, they both kind of struggle because one of my things was I was going down to look at the receivers during the Senior Bowl practice the first day we got there on Wednesday. And that was one of the things that I noted with both him and Dobbs. Alec Pierce and Dobbs was kind of struggling to get off the line of scrimmage, which on film, they don't show that. Like, they look very good. And it's just been the environment that may have had an effect on how they played. And Alec Pierce, you didn't really see him anymore after that day. I didn't see him anymore after that. I don't know if he just I don't know what happened after that, but he just kind of disappeared in the wind.
Yeah, and like traditionally in one-on-ones, you usually don't play off. You usually play press. Depending if the guy's like a Calvin Austin, then you would kind of play off and let him try to dictate what he's going to do there. But when he's big receiver like Dobbs and Pierce, you kind of want to shock them at the line. And that's what I thought. I thought corners did a really good job of at the Senior Bowl, where we're getting in their chest and not really giving them space to create obviously on their route. So, I mean, it was a concern, but it was one of those things, like Senior Bowl should either like, it should show that they've worked on something, but like in game film, when I was watching Dobbs, I didn't see that as much. So I don't know if he just wasn't expecting it, but or maybe it was just a bad week in one-on-ones. I don't know. To me, it's not really creating off the line of scrimmage is something that can be taught.
Right.
So it doesn't like those kind of things don't really concern me.
No doubt. So I'm going to take it in a little bit of a completely different direction.
This is offensive line mode.
No.
No, this is joking.
No. I'm not that different, I guess. Still talking about a more or less a skill player. I went running back because I feel like as much as I would love to get Kenneth Walker or Breece Hall, I don't know. I just almost see like guys being ranked higher than them available when we pick kind of deal.
Yeah.
So I think there might be later rounds when we grab a running back. So that's where a lot of my attention has been. Now, everybody's brought up the Dameon Pierces and some of the other guys, but the one who caught my eye, and I guess the Senior Bowl has been a topic of where we have. That's where a lot of these guys, first get noticed at, really. But it was Abram Smith out of Baylor. Yep.
Baylor. That's where I was going.
First. When we first started talking about it, like it was the converted linebacker, Abram Smith. But when I really got to digging into him, he started out as a running back. He only played a year of linebacker. I think he was just trying to get on the field. But this past season, he finally got like the full, full tote the rock, and with that, he showcase what he can do. I'm trying to get. I should have had all this stuff pulled up, but y'all forgive me on that. Sometimes I'm really good prepared. Sometimes I'm not. But he had 1,600 yards rushing and had 12 touchdowns, 13 receptions for 75 yards. The receptions he could have he showed soft enough hands to where I don't think that's a concern. It just didn't seem like that's what Baylor did that much. But what I liked about Abram Smith is he really shows that toughness that I think Arthur Smith is looking for. He fits that mold, 5'11", 221. He's the size that allows him to be that grinder, and that's the kind of runner he is. Like it's a, he'll not necessarily look for contact, but he's not going to go down on the first guy who gets him, generally speaking. And if it is the first guy, he's going to drag him for a couple yards, which is something that I think will be appreciated. But he's not just a down the hill runner in that aspect. He also has some good pop and bend to his game. Baylor used a lot of heavy tight end sets, a lot of outside zone. So that's something that he will be used to coming here in Atlanta. And there was more than one occasion where they did outside zone run to the left. All the O linemen kind of get stacked up, and he's able to break back to the right for a big gain. and he had a touchdown run in that same style. So he's displayed good vision and a hard runner. And if you're one of the people who believe in like low mileage on a running back, he definitely has, low mileage with only like less than 300 attempts total, and all of them coming pretty much last year. So he was a guy that you can definitely going to be able to grab him 5th, 6th round. Like nobody's going to be beating down the door for Abram Smith. Like he may even be a like high profile undrafted guy, like a priority, undrafted free agent that you bring in, kind of like we brought in Caleb Huntley and Javon Hawkins last year. He can come in and compete with Huntley and possibly Olesen for that 3rd spot, depending on what we do with Mike Davis, obviously.
Yeah, he looks like a punisher.
Yeah.
I didn't see that deep down in the running back class just
No.
yet. When I finished off, I was working on running backs, but yeah, Abram, he looks the part, man. He's definitely a big physical tone center. He's got some really good pull away speed.
Yeah.
So I mean,
when he gets out
like,
into the open,
like on that touchdown in the Senior Bowl too, like with the soft hands, like he was kind of just running a little flat, and whoever the quarterback was, like really drilled it at him. He caught it pretty clean. So I mean, it's so funny at the draft. I think a big a knock on Kenneth Walker was, could he catch the ball? People were saying, oh, he can't catch the ball, but it's like, was he asked to?
That's
right?
the thing,
yeah. That, you know what I mean? Like, and then that's another thing. We go into the Senior Bowl. What can we confirm? What can we deny? But I watched a few reps of his one-on-ones. Abram Smith. I watched his one-on-ones against linebackers. I mean, he looks like he can run the angle route, the Texas route, the flat. He's probably not going to be lined up like Alvin Kamara.
No.
But I mean, can you do the things that Leonard Fournette can do?
Right.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, like he looks like he's got soft hands. He can catch the ball well. In regard to running the outside zone stuff, for me, he probably could, but if I'm looking, I would probably want more of a guy that runs with his hair on fire, like James Cook kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think James Cook will go a little bit earlier. But if you're looking for like inside zone, which we do run a little bit of and a little bit of power, I really feel like Abram Smith could be that guy.
The only thing that I was like really looking for, and maybe if I dug into some more games, I might have seen it, but I would like to have seen him run with more power at the goal line. If there was a knock I had on him necessarily, is that I'd like to see in those short yardage situations really just hit somebody and drive. And that's like kind of the only knock that I really had on him. But that's why I said 6th round.
That's what you get, right? You got
priority. Priority undrafted guy. But he's a guy who I think could come in and definitely compete for a roster spot. So.
Yeah.
Toby, anything
on? Gregory Jr. I know a lot of people are not talking about this guy because he's out of a school that I can't even pronounce.
Are you talking about the
Ocheta,
whatever? Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those weird names, but I tell you this much: the Senior Bowl is where he caught my attention. And if I'm not mistaken, he was one of the ones that jammed Romeo Doubs so bad. That's what really caught my attention because he jammed Romeo Doubs so bad. Romeo Doubs had no chance getting off the line of scrimmage. Matter of fact, he must have hung there for about 5 minutes trying to get off the line on this guy. He would not let him out for anything in the world. Now, this guy's a guy that I think would be a sneaker to take, and he may go undrafted. 6th round to being undrafted. But I would definitely take a flyer on this guy if he's available for the Atlanta Falcons, especially having another special teams ace in that later round on your team, like a Gregory Jr. So he's somebody I definitely would suggest y'all look out for, as you may hear his name on draft night.
Adam, you got anybody else you want to throw out there? I know we were going like 1 for 1, but you got anybody else that really caught your eye?
Zachary Carter from Florida.
Yeah.
He's another 5-tech guy that kind of caught my eye. Perrion Winfrey. I know he's not late round, but
Oh yeah, no, he is definitely not.
You know what I mean? But, I mean, he's just like, I was just watching some clips of Isaiah Thomas, and I was like, wow,
Perrion
Winfrey's
Winfrey
really
just,
good. I forgot how good he is.
dude. He is a like I come out of Mobile like almost draft crushing on Perrion Winfrey, even more so than I was before going down there. Like going down there, I was like, oh yeah, this guy's a real good DT. But then being down there and seeing it was even more impressive. Yeah. Well, I think that'll pretty much wrap it up for us here this evening. So yeah, y'all go check those names out for those late rounds, because I mean we all know that's how you build your roster. That's how the stars make it fun, but it's those cog pieces. It's those guys that when you look up, they've been in the league for 15 years, and you're like, holy Pete, But that's how you keep a roster good, and so you need guys like that. So we appreciate Charleston Nash for posing that question to us, guys. I appreciate y'all, putting in the work and bringing those names. Adam, you got anything you need or want to plug at this moment outside of your Twitter handle?
No, like I don't know. I guess we're gonna be working on some stuff pound for pound, and I will be on the live show. I've dedicated this block of April to football and football only. So
there you go.
I feel like my content will go up a little bit more. People it's so funny. You go over that last year, and that's kind of when my brand really started to grow, when I started posting clips and breaking them down. Now everybody's just sending me guys to check out.
You gotta look at this
too much. Yeah, it's like I'm like, man, I'm trying. I really am, but like I know people are like, oh, you're just ignoring me, but I'm not. Like I do a lot with youth football here, and right now I'm in the middle of, like, I think this will be the 4th weekend that I'll be in the U.S. Out of 5, so it's been busy. But I promise you will see threads on my Twitter coming up.
There you go. Yes, I mean we need that kind of that info. We need the nugget and the wisdom. Yeah. Well, folks, y'all can always catch me on Twitter. I'm at Grim1128, GRIMM1128. Toby?
OBD1991.
Damsky32, hit me up.
Thank you. Don't do like I did and say Damsky36. You won't find him there.
That's an ugly football number.
It is, right. You got to get that nice symmetrical 30. Anyway, y'all keep your eye on the channel. Like I said, we'll be live next week as our scheduled normal live, and then obviously the week after that we're going to be doing a ton of draft stuff. But yeah, as always, Falcons fans, rise up.